Hey guys, Goldshell Mini Repair. So I decided to switch it up a little bit on the videos. Obviously, I've been gone for a little while here. I went and got a couple other things going, but anyways, I wanted to do a video on a teardown and repair of a device. So I did get something in news. One of you guys sent this out to me. It's a Mini Doge 3. It's having power issues and doesn't mine any longer. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to do kind of a teardown, look through the device, see kind of how it's set up. And also obviously see if we can repair it and get it up and running again. So without further ado, we'll get it out of the package right now. And with the quick little panda snap, we have the Goldshell out. So this thing looks pretty lightly used, doesn't look like anything's going on, but it is pretty obvious off the bat what happened here. It has a huge burn through on this right here. I believe that's the ground side actually on these. So it looks like it grounded out and shorted out, at least on this power connector. This one looks like it came out unscathed. I don't see any burning on it, but obviously we're not going to know until we take it apart. So I have not seen anyone do a teardown on these things. Obviously it's still sealed. We're about to void the warranty on it, though. I mean, if you live in the States, those void if removed no warranty stickers have absolutely no meaning. But again, most of these manufacturers are in China, so you know, best of luck to you.
So I really do get why people buy these gold shells and why iServer is copying them. The build quality on this is really, really good in all honesty. They are very expensive for the manga hash that you're getting out of it, but the quality of the device does seem to be higher. So not trying to like ride on the coattails or anything like that, but these gold shells seem to be a little bit better built than at least the iServers that I have personally worked on now. That could have changed. I do not have an AL2 Lite or a KS2 Lite, but for right now the gold shell definitely wins.
So let's see, let's move this to the side. And it looks like, yep, they just have the two guys right here. Looks like it's a single PCB but dual-sided with an aluminum board, which is nice. It's really good for heat conductivity. See if there's any screws holding this in. There are. It's probably on the back side. Yep. So more than likely just need to remove this one screw right here off this heatsink. Looks like that's the only thing holding this thing really together at this point. And there we go. Well, bam. Nice, just extruded aluminum chassis. Not fully powder coated all the way, but I mean, like, who really cares? You're not going to see it. Put that down to the side for now. And we have the guts. So it looks like what they're doing is they have a little daughter board set up onto the actual mining portion of it. It's a dual-sided board with probably the chiplets on both sides. So let's go ahead and remove this daughter board real quick. I apologize for blowing your guys' eyeballs out when looking at this earlier. For some reason the exposure went crazy on this. Looking at the rails though, they don't look like anything's wrong with it. It looks like it might have been on the power supply side of things. So I don't see anything dead shorted real quick. Let me plug it in and check. Assuming that these are just regular PCI Express. Top one is ground. Yeah. So it looks like the ground shorted for some reason. There's no dead short on the board. Looks like it was turning on just fine. Check the other one real quick. Might be just a little crispy. Yeah. Cable just got crispy in there. Honestly, just need to replace out this guy right here. So let's get the daughter board removed from it, and then also might as well try to remove this heatsink too. So didn't want to ramble on too much for you guys on this one, so what I went ahead and did is remove the two bolts that go through it that hold it onto the ground in the VCC or power line. On these things, it's what supplies the chiplets with power. Just commenting also on the heatsink on the front and the back. The front one right there has some spring washers on it. They hold everything in place and keep constant pressure. Backside is actually, I believe, thermally glued on. It has screws that go through the board and holds it there, but it looks like it's adhesive on. Also talking real briefly kind of about the control board that I removed there. Really nice capacitors. Everything's really clean and well done on it. It's a fiberglass board for the I/O, and then the actual board for the ASIC chiplets is aluminum. So really high quality board there. Get this guy off. There it goes. I'll inspect it real quick, make sure there's not any real damage going on these. Honestly, the chiplets are a little bit bigger than what's on like a S19 or anything like that. I do have a board actually up above me right now that got sent over by Desert Miner to work on. I just don't have the controller for it right now, so I'm waiting to pick that up before I start some work on it. But the dice are a little bit bigger on this. The thermal paste on this thing was also a little crapped out, so I'm going to go ahead and repaste it as well while I'm at it. Honestly, this was extremely tedious to work on and take apart, but you know, it was worth it. The gray thermal paste that they're using on this is very similar to MX4 from what it looks like. Again, the build quality on these is a lot higher than some of the other ASICs that I've worked on. They're using a lot nicer thermal paste, but they are a little bit, you know, on the pricier side. But it looks like you do get what you pay for on these. So what I recommend doing when doing any kind of heat sinks on basically anything is to kind of follow a star pattern on them, and also don't screw them all the way down and doing full pressure until you get all the screws in. Obviously, with some CPUs and stuff like that, I think on some of the Threadripper sockets it's not the same. There's more of an order of operations, but I don't have any kind of manual for this. Just kind of going as I see it, just using some good habits, like for example, doing everything in a star pattern. Honestly, I was rambling on a little bit here about the quality again. Like I said earlier, these things have an aluminum PCB and they're one-sided, it looks like, but they have the board glued onto the back. Means that these things can have really good thermal transfer and really good temperatures, as we all know and see. So the longevity of this miner is definitely a lot higher than some of the other boards that are using fiberglass boards. Those are notorious for kind of having issues with a lot of heat cycles, whereas aluminum obviously is going to maintain its shape for a very, very, very long time. What we're going to go ahead and do now is tackle the burnt out 6-pin that is on the Goldshell. Honestly, don't see anything wrong with the control board, just need to replace out that one little socket and we should be up and running. Alrighty, so I switched back to my phone. As you can see on this one, we have two very clearly burnt out pins. This is the ground side on the 6-pin PCI. The ones on the tab side are the grounds, bottom side is the power. Nothing on the board looked burnt out. Like I said, when I went ahead and threw it on the bench power supply, it didn't show up short or anything like that, so I just think these weren't plugged in all the way. Just had too much power draw across them or something like that, and end up blowing this thing up. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is remove this. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do it at the moment. It does look like what they did is they just flowed this board and put those connectors on there, just from kind of how it is on the back side here, and there's nothing on the top side, though it is close to a lot of components. So kind of just planning out what I want to do at this point. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a good angle of it, but as you can see here, I went ahead and replaced out. This one's a little bit darker. I had another fresh 6-pin on there, but it just wasn't going on very well. The pins weren't lined up. So I'm not gonna lie, I stole this one off of one of the Z15 boards. It also has one of the higher temperature connectors right there. So it is mint, it is on there. We're gonna go ahead and plug this into everything else and make sure it works. Alrighty, got this thing all wired up right now. I have it hooked up to pretty much a very overkill power supply for this thing, but I mean 12 volts, 12 volt, so I'm gonna only pull the power it wants out of this. So I'm gonna run off this bit main, make sure everything works. Alrighty guys, as you can see, this thing is currently mining away. Had to do a quick restart because it wasn't showing up on my network for some reason, but we are currently mining to mine.dutch.nl. No issues going on there. So merge mining, gonna let it run for probably a couple hours here, make sure everything is good to go before I go ahead and contact him and let him know that it's good to go. So if you have any questions, honestly, not a ton that I can answer about it below. Besides, these things are actually pretty well built, just a little bit expensive for what they are. Feel free to leave it down below, or if you have an inquiry about doing a repair for yourself. So I got my website set up. You can actually send emails up over there. If you have devices you want to work on, kind of get an idea of quote, timeline, stuff like that, feel free to reach out to me over there. Or if you need a shroud or anything like that, I also have them up there. And now also I'm taking requests for that kind of stuff. Someone talked about doing like a big 140mm setup for these mini Doges. Honestly, if they keep the same form factor that they do with Ice River devices, I think that honestly any kind of fan kit should work on any of them, especially because on the back side there's some nice mounting holes to put a fan back there so that it's pulled through rather than blow through like it is right now. Also, should be streaming this weekend, working on more Z15s, so just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a break away from the Z15s. Anyways, y'all take care. Have a good rest of your week. Peace.